Hey there, how's it going? So, hey, I wanted to come on to talk about the concept of reversed accountability partner. So now this is something that can help you, that can help push you to the next level specifically. And I wrote it down so that way I know precisely what I'm going to be writing about, what I'm going to be talking about. So essentially, I am working with an individual, a new client that I recently brought on. And one of the things I was telling this individual to do is to publish more content. I would say, hey, I said to this person that, hey, in the next couple of weeks, I want to see you publish content. I want to see you publish probably, maybe two, three, or four pieces of content, a week. And I'm holding this person accountable to publishing content. And one of the things this individual, kind of told me was, hey, when was the last time you published content? So now, this person's kind of just using a reverse accountability thing on me. And I said, you know what? Hey, I'm going to challenge myself and I'm going to publish content tonight. I don't know how often I'm going to be publishing content. Maybe I should be publishing content a little bit more consistently. So I took on that challenge. I'll say, you know what? Hey, I told you to publish content on a very consistent basis. And that's what I want you to do. You're doing it. I'm going to publish content as well. So precisely what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight is the concept of one target market at a time. So now, yesterday I got called out. So before I go get called out again, there is something else that I am doing, so to speak, that I kind of advise people to not do. So before someone called me out on it and say, hey, you're telling me to not do X, Y, and Z, but you're doing the exact same thing. Here's my story. I'm going to tell you precisely why. So as you guys probably already know, I talk about this all of the time. I run a meetup. A meetup has been the place where I go to share marketing information with business owners. It helps me to basically validate some of the information that I'm learning from a marketing standpoint, and it helps me to provide value to business owners in my local area. At any given time, I could have someone from the real estate market, someone that's doing graphic design, someone that's doing branding, someone that's doing WordPress. I could have 5 different target markets in my meetup at any given point in time. And because that is how my meetup has run from the very get-go, it's called a business meetup. It's not called a meetup for one specific type of segment. So because over the year and a half, over the 2 years that I've been running this meetup, I've had to be prepared or be ready to produce content for any type of business. I haven't focused my meetup on one type of business. So now that's done a couple of things. At any point in time, doing my meetup, you can see me. I think my last 2 or 3 meetups, what I had to do is I had to kind of give everybody about 15 minutes, 15-minute segments, so to speak. And every 15 minutes, what you saw I was doing is I was answering a question specific to a specific industry. So this person was telling me, hey, they have this going on in this specific industry. I went ahead and answered the question while the other individuals kind of just observed. And then I went around the room and I spoke to different industries and I helped them solve the pain point that they were having, so to speak. Now, I had to learn that. I am not saying that this is something that I advise, because when I first started my meetup, all I knew is that I wanted to provide value. I wanted to provide marketing value to business owners. I was learning marketing, and I knew that, hey, the only way that I can continue to learn, to continue to grow in this marketing business, is by way of sharing that information and making sure that it's validated. I'm not going to just be studying stuff just for the purpose of studying it and it hasn't been validated. If I haven't validated the information, I don't know if it's valid. So I needed some people to kind of validate it against, and that's why I started the meetup. But when I started the meetup, it was not segment specific. It's called marketing business meetup. So any business, any type can come in and they can come get content from me. So because any business can come in and get content from me, over the years, it's forced me to learn different areas of marketing, to be honest with you. And it's forced me to learn to communicate with different types of businesses. Now, when I work with clients, when I take on new individuals, what I do is I tell them to focus on one target market, because, man, having to communicate with many different types of segments is not necessarily an easy thing. I had to go through it. But if you're just starting off, or if you're already in business, I don't necessarily recommend it, because it took me a whole lot of work to kind of be able to learn, the different languages, to learn the different tactics, to learn all of these different things. Now I have to continue doing that because of my my business model, or because of the fact that I communicate to these different individuals via the meetup, I'm not going to segment it and say, you know what, hey, via this meetup, I only want this type of business to come to the meetup. I haven't done that, and I don't think that's something that I'll be doing in the near future. So since people are in the business of calling me out these days, that's why my meetup is ran the way that it's ran for that, for that specific model. However, there are other things that I'm working on that I'm going to be focusing on one target market at a time. So I wrote it down. So there are other things that I'm working on. So specifically, there's groups, speakers, authors, and coaches. I am working with those specific type of individuals. And when I work with those specific type of individuals to me is one target market. And for that specific target market, I need to be able to craft my marketing to speak directly to that specific individual and to be able to help that individual uncover pain points and to be able to communicate precisely to that specific individual. So the thing that I wanted to kind of just talk about, or the thing that I wanted to elaborate on is, I wanted to elaborate on the concept of objections. And objections come about whenever you present your product or your services to someone. They're going to have objections. So in this specific, for the case of this specific live, I'm going to talk about 3 different types of objections. So what I've done is I've named them. I have objection 1, objection 2, objection 3, because you have many different types of objections that come up when people see or hear about your specific product. I want to talk about 3 specific type of objections. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, I am talking to someone about a software. Let's just say if I have a software that I want to present to a specific audience, and what that software does, that software helps people to build marketing funnels very, very quickly. So if I present that to someone and say, hey, I have a wonderful marketing software, come get this marketing software, it's going to do wonders for you. That is not an ideal way to present that to someone, in my opinion. What's a fact? You don't present that information to that individual that way. What you want to do is you want to present that information to that person by way of a story. So the way that I would present that type of a software to someone is I would say, you know what? Hey, a couple of years ago, I had a developer. I paid a developer a whole lot of money. I paid the developer close to $30,000 to build me a website. Now, this website was going to be was the website of my dream. And it was going to be the website that takes me from, say, worker-bee to freedom person, so to speak. After the website was built, I was engaging with some different audiences. I was engaging with some different businesses, and I needed to make some adjustments to the site. I needed to change some pages. I needed to go ahead and move some things around and move some elements around. And when it was time for me to do that, the developer I had hired told me that I had to, it would take him weeks to make those adjustments, to go ahead and make those modifications. Well, I needed that change to happen very, very quickly. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the luxury time. And plus I didn't have the finances to go about, getting this developer to make those corrections for me. So because I didn't have the time and I didn't have the money, me as a business owner, I lost out on a lot of different opportunities. So, there was opportunities that I couldn't take advantage of. There were some adjustments I needed to make very, very quickly, but I was stuck, right? I was stuck because I was bound to this development company. I was bound to this developer because of the type of website, or because I wasn't a developer. Hence why this software, that came around became a miracle. For me, it's a miracle because it allows me, an individual who's not necessarily that techie, to make changes very, very quickly, and I can do it without having to hire a tech person. So what I just did in this specific instance is I told my story as to why I believe in this software company. I didn't just say, hey, get this software company. The software company is great. I basically told my story how, hey, I missed out on some business opportunities. There were some adjustments I needed to make to the website. I couldn't make the adjustments to the website because of how the website was built, or because I had to depend on a developer. So now when I tell an individual that story, that person's going to say, okay, so now I see why this software, it would make sense for me to go ahead and buy into this specific software, because if I need to make changes, if I need to change marketing messages, if I need to change pages, I can do that without having to depend on a developer. So that's one type of objection. So when you present your thing, just know that whenever you present the thing that you're going to be presenting, the person that's seeing the message, that's hearing the message, is going to have some type of an objection. So if you can combat that with some type of a story or your reason why or what is done for you type of thing, that is ideal. The second type of objection that usually comes about is after you present your thing to someone, sometimes the individual say, hey, you know what, this is something that's great. This is something that's incredible. However, it may not necessarily work for me. So then they say, hey, you know what, yeah, this thing doesn't work for me. So if we were to kind of just continue with my software story, so to speak, my objection number two, I have in parentheses content. My objection number two will be around some type of a demo. So if I can go online and very, very quickly show this individual or show the audience that, hey, I can make changes to a page very, very quickly. Here's a demo. It's going to take me 15 minutes to make the change. I just made the change right in front of you. I'm not the only person that can make this change. If I can show them case studies of other individuals just like them that can make those changes very, very easily without having to depend on some type of a tech person, without having to depend on other individuals. Now I just came up with content, right? Content objection number two. I just came up with content that's going to help to combat the second objection. So you have objection number one, which is usually about the thing that you're selling. Objection number two is usually about their ability to be able to succeed with the product or the service or whatever it is that you're doing. Here, in this case, you can show a demo, or you can show other individuals that's consuming the information, or other individuals that are being successful with the information. And then objection number three, there's usually a third objection, and that third objection could be about something outside of their control. So if I were to kind of just keep going with this same scenario, with this same story, the next objection that someone may have is about, traffic. Hey, I have this wonderful, software. It's done me wonders. It gives me the flexibility. I can create pages very easily. I can change my marketing message. I can go ahead and change products and pages and images and features and all these other things. And, from a demo standpoint, it's very easy. I can do it. Now, the other thing that I might need in order to be successful, the other objection that the person may be thinking is, okay, how do I get traffic to this thing? So, okay, so how do you get traffic to the thing? So now I have to tell them, a story. So, if I were to be crafting this, one of the stories that I would personally tell them, because I know I had issues with traffic at one point as well, is that I was going to be hosting. I was going to be demoing. I should say I was going to be demoing one of my websites a couple of years ago to a audience of carnival goers. So you have the Miami Bar Carnival that happens, once a year. It happens in my local area, and I was going to be demoing this dating/dancing website, and I was going to be buying T-shirts for people. I was going to be buying tickets for people to go to this event because I wanted people to showcase my website at the time. That's one of the things that I wanted to do. That's one of the ways I wanted to get traffic. Well, I was going to be getting traffic that way, but I was going to be paying a lot of money for it. Then a friend of mine told me, you know what, hey, you should try a different methodology. And the methodology that person told me to try at the time was a person told me to try Facebook. Now, this person was correct in that I should have tried Facebook because Facebook costs a lot less money. So yes, he told me to try Facebook. He was correct in trying Facebook, but there's system and there's methodologies in using Facebook. So I tried Facebook and Facebook didn't work. Now, Facebook didn't work for a specific reason. The reason why Facebook didn't work was because I was not being congruent. I started the conversation with someone on Facebook about, say, reggae music. And then when I took them to my website, they saw things about hip hop music, for instance, or I started a conversation with people on Facebook about landing pages. And then when they got to my website, they saw search engine optimization services. So Facebook is a very valuable option, but it didn't work for me because I didn't have a congruent message from the time they saw my ads to the time they arrived to my website, or my targeting was off. I was targeting people who like pizza instead of targeting business owners, so to speak. So now I can, tell them that, hey, you know what, this traffic thing didn't work for me either. So it's not just you. It didn't work for me. I tried this, I tried that. Those different things didn't work for me. Or I tried this platform that is very promising that everyone say works very well. But the issue was not the platform. The issue was from an implementation standpoint, I was not properly using the strategies that are involved in this specific platform. So, you see how, essentially, if you come up with a story that helps to kind of just combat the objection that, the person is going to think about, you're stepping ahead of the game, so to speak. You're saying, hey, you know what? No problem. I completely understand that this may be a viable concern. This may be a viable issue. I had the exact same issue, and I thought that I had to do X, Y, and Z, but you know what? I was not using the strategy correctly. The platform is perfectly okay, or the audience is already out there. The audience is available, but I wasn't using the right strategies to find a specific audience. So when you do that, when you come up with content ahead of time, right? So I have 3 objections on here: objection 1, objection 2, objection 3. And when you have content that that your audience is going to, when you have content to combat those specific objections, when you do that ahead of time, then you position yourself to be in a position that allows you to be able to communicate with your specific audience, and to be able to kind of just help them move along the process, whether it be move along to make a sale, move along to take action on whatever the step is. So hey, there you have it. I do have a legit reason as to why I'm inside of a room with my meetup members, and I'm speaking to this audience and that audience and that audience and that audience, because that's how I started off. When I started off, I was learning marketing, and I said, you know what, hey, in order for me to learn this stuff, in order for me to validate the things that I'm learning, let me go teach it to some people. So hey, I popped up and created a meetup page or meetup in my local area, and people started coming. When people came, I didn't say, hey, you know what type of business are you in? You in this type of business? No, you can't come here. Are you in that type of business? It didn't really even make sense for me to do that. And plus, I didn't know enough about marketing to do that. I'm kind of happy I didn't do that, to be honest with you, because it's just allowed me to kind of just engage and interact with many different types of businesses. But at the same time, it continues to be, a lot of work, so to speak. So for most people, I don't encourage that you do that exact same thing. I encourage that you start and you focus on one target market, right? So find one target market, speak to that one target market, because when you start to understand that one target market, the deeper you study that one target market, the deeper you study that one audience, the better you'll become at being able to communicate to them. The better you will become at knowing what the objections are. You're going to know objection 1, objection 2, objection 3, and then the better you'll be able to, to serve them. If I am trying to determine the objection of 5 or 20 different audiences, that becomes very, very difficult. But if I find one specific target audience, one group of individual, and I start to kind of just focus and communicate to their specific needs, I know what the objections are going to be about the thing that I'm presenting. I know what the next objection is going to be. I know what the next objection is going to be. It's only a matter of time. The more you study it, the more you collaborate with that type of group, or you study that type of group, the better you become at speaking to and being able to overcome the objection. Okay, so hey, there you have it. That is the information. That's my time. Thanks for listening. Hey, if you like this information, please like and share and share this information, and show some love. Hey, that's my time. Thanks for listening. Cheers.